Alright. Coast looks clear now. Oh, man, that smoke is thick. Was that glass? Oh, something right? T-80B. Okay, he's done. Whoa, what is that? What is that? Ah! Ah! What lag! Oh my goodness! What was that? What? That was a weird ATGM. Oh no! It's that thing! That new AA! Man! Man, I gotta try this out. Oh my goodness! Does it have 4 cannons? Man! Look at that fire rate! 2,000 rounds a minute. It even has the shell animation. Nice. No way. What's the pen on this? 64. Oh my goodness. Can I pen the Abrams? Oh. That's nuts. ATGMs? Or AAMs, rather. Okay. Try again. No way! No way! That had to be the missile setting it on fire. Da, comrade. Oh man. I cannot believe this is in the game. The ZPRK 2S6. It's so crazy. Crazy. The Tunguska is finally here. But I'm going to get to that in a little moment. Howdy folks, Sauber here. Welcome back to the channel. They are finally here. The M1A1 Abrams and the T-80U, the Soviet Huntress. So to start off with, the M1A1 Abrams. FPE in parts! Get free Abrams! I have to admit, that was hilarious on the stream where Vyacheslav Bolanikov is trying to listen to Sean talk and he goes, I see chat. And he goes, oh yeah, me and Abrams have a history. Let's just say that. Some memes never die. We all reap what we sow, comrades. Anyway, I gotta get serious now. So as you can see, the models for some of the tanks, especially in regards to armor and x-ray, were a little work in progress and maybe even not correct on the first dev server. And as you've noticed with the M1A1, the turret armor was supposed to be the same composition as the original M1 for some reason. And also the right set fuel tank was missing. So what was up with that? Is that like our toy box now? Or maybe to put our Happy Meals? I don't know. But next up, we also have the T-80U with its popular Kontact 5 ERA. The one thing that gets to me about the T-80U model is that, and I mean, sure, it's more modern, but its snorkel system. It has the one, like the refit, that like the Cypress T-80s used. So yeah, I like the old ones better that had the T-64B and T-80B had. But default APF SDS round is decent, but its best round is the 3BM42 Mango and sorry, I just have a bad memory with that name, Mango. If you've been part of the Flight Circus Discord server long enough, you know what I'm talking about. But I'll elaborate more on that later. But the Kontact 5 armor ERA is really impressive. It can withstand 120 millimeters of penetration versus kinetic and 400 for heat. Very interesting. And then last but not least, we have this monster of an SPAA, 2,000 rounds a minute shots, the ZPRK 2S6 Tunguska. And sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't know the proper pronunciation for it, but hey, it's got four, count them, four 30mm cannons with almost 2,000 rounds of ammunition, and also, yeah, not a lot real thick armor, but it also has AAM 9M311 ATGMs. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. 762mm gun? Come on. It's a missile! I'm just tripping. I know it's the dev server. 41mm of pen is not that bad for an anti-air missile. Now, keep in mind, hold your horses, folks. Nothing to be scared of. It's just an anti-air missile that you have to guide manually, like an ATGM. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, don't take full ammunition load with the T-80U. You'll have ammo in the turret, and that's something you don't want, because it'll go kaboom more than a T-72 in Kuwait. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with the M1A1 Abrams. Now, to get an elephant out of the room real quick, if you don't know who Mango Berry 4961 is, just be glad you don't. To keep a long story short, because we got a lot to discuss in this video, he caused quite a bit of trouble on not only Flying Circus, but also Mike Goes Boom server, Dita server, and some other servers. But the tipping point that got him banned from all of our servers was when he, let's just say he posted something very, very illegal, and thus the police had to get involved. Thankfully, this did not happen on Flying Circus, because that would have been a nightmare to deal with, but it was rather on another server. I don't remember which one it was, but thankfully it got resolved and we didn't have to do anything. But, oh, bad memories, man. Mango, stay away. He also makes alt accounts and like occasionally tries to rejoin Flying Circus, so Mango, if you're watching this, for all of our sakes, please stop. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, I'm glad we got that out of the way because I was dreading talking about it. Anyway, the M1A1 Abrams. Hey! Get out of here, MI-24, I'm talking here. We're talking about the M1 here. Anyway, the M1A1 Abrams. This is our Rank 7 tank that will be presented for the American Armed Forces, and personally has been a variant I've been waiting for a very long time. And sure, it's not the HA variant with its depleted uranium armor, but maybe we'll get that as an upgrade in the future. Just like how when the T-64B was added, it didn't get its Contact 1 ERA package right away. It got it in the next update. Same with the T-80B. It didn't get ERA right away. And then in the next update, it got ERA. So, maybe in 1.89, we'll get a heavy armor upgrade for the M1A1. We'll just have to wait and see. But the pinnacle of this M1 is obviously its 120mm L44 M256 gun, which is the variant that is still being used on the M1 Abrams to this day. Granted, with upgraded ammunition and a bunch of other upgrades. But all in all, this was also, if I recall correctly, the most numerous variant, not the only variant, mind you, of the M1 Abrams that saw action in Desert Storm in Kuwait in 1991. So this is definitely a historically significant vehicle to be added for the American line, and I'm definitely glad that we got the M1A1 in the game now. Sorry, I sputtered my words a little bit. I remember when we first got the M1 Abrams back in, the original M1 Abrams back in March of last year, 2018. And I was like, man, this is cool. We got the very first iteration of the Abrams, and then we'll get the M1A1 in the future. The question is, or I didn't realize it would be a year further down the line, but hey, it was worth the wait. Because I remember reading in the M1's dev blog, it says, in 1985, the M1 was upgraded with a license-built version of the Rheinmetall L44 120mm cannon. But that is a story for another dev blog in the future. Now, at the time of the making of this video, which is just about a day after the dev server, I've yet to see a dev blog for the M1A1. Now, that's not to say that it's not coming, because this was just the first dev server, and I can almost guarantee you there will be a second dev server. Because a bunch of things needed to be tweaked, some things couldn't make it to the dev server. Heck, the armor values for some of the tanks were not even properly modeled. Like, the C1 Ariete, a Tiger H1 could pen its turret from the front, and I'm like, come on. And it's supposed to have composite armor. I'm not sure if it's Charbum or Burlington or other derivatives of it, but I know it has composite armor. And there's no way a Tiger H1 could pen it from the front. So obviously, take that with a grain of salt. It was just part of the testing phase, and it was all work in progress. Heck, even the Leopard 2A5, which has been confirmed, courtesy of Mike Goes Boom on his dev server stream yesterday, it showcased the Leopard 2A5. Now, I don't know if he was able to take it into a battle, because I found out later that there was some kind of flaw. Not just a visual flaw. Oh my goodness. Visual flaw, but like a coding flaw with the 3D model of the Leopard 2A5. So bad, to the point where if you tried to go into a battle with the Leopard 2A5, it would crash the game. Yeah, it feels bad, man. But, hey, that's what the dev server is for. To test these things out. If there's any bugs, try to fix them before the live server. So, yeah. I just kind of wish dev servers were held more often. Like, not even before an update, but like, kind of like in the middle of an existing one, just so we can get a feel of the new stuff. But I can understand why they want to reserve it for major updates only. And if we had them otherwise, would we need tech mods? No, that was a bad joke. My bad. But seriously, the devs, there was lots of stuff that was to be fixed and changed, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what else we could see in the update as a whole. And then, of course, also we got a bunch of other goodies in 1.87 that I can't even list them all. But the most notable include additional rank 6 aircraft for the other nations. I think for every other nation now. And also rank 7 tanks, of course. And then, of course, radar for aircraft that had it. And, oh yeah, more advanced radar for SPAA. So, whew. Heavy cruisers, helicopters for France. Oh, so much stuff. So much stuff. It's incredible. I mean, I think so far this is going to be the best update yet. I mean, with all the stuff that's going to be added and the new map. Now, I'll get more into it in a moment, but visually speaking, I think this is one of my favorite maps that they've added to War Thunder thus far. I liked American Desert a lot, but I don't know. Alaska, in terms of its city center, has a lot of classic architecture from like the Cold War era that honestly kind of reminds me a lot of the towns near me, the older towns. It's really nice, visually speaking, in this map. Now, of course, it could use some improvements, because for one thing, this map is indeed very small, even by arcade standards. Now, of course, this was an RB, but if this was to be an arcade map, even then it would be a little small. And the funny thing is that the developer's blog for this map said that this would be intended for use with top-tier vehicles. Now, my best guess is that I'm not gonna just jump to a conclusion and just say, oh, they're lazy, they want to make a small map. No, I'm not gonna go down that route. My best guess is that this is just a test for a larger one to come. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I hope I'm right about this, because War Thunder, especially in regards to the rank 6 tanks and the soon-to-be-launched rank 7 tanks, need large maps. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about large maps like surroundings of Volokholamsk or what's that other map? European Providence. Those have their flaws of their own, but I won't delve too deeply into that. But what War Thunder needs, especially for top tier, is maps like Fulda, related to Fulda, or Fields of Poland, the latter of which I really do enjoy. Because the capture points on Fields of Poland are nicely set up and... Sorry, building. Unlike here on Alaska, where the points are direct center and then right and left of it, on Fields of Poland, there's one in southeast, one in the center, and one in northwest, so you can capture at least one capture point with little to no risk. That lag there. Now, what you see here, and I'll display it briefly, is my idea of what a larger version of the Alaska map could look like for domination. So the blue and red circles represent the south and north spawns respectively. The orange lines you see represent bridges that could be made to bridge towards the capture points. And then the green circles with the shadow marks are obviously the capture points. Now, this is just a general idea of what could be done for a larger version, and I'm not sure how it would work, but it's just a rough idea of what I think could be a blueprint for a larger version of Alaska. And I don't know the exact size of it, because I just literally hopped in my MiG-19, climbed up to about 7,000 meters or 20,000 feet. Stupid helicopters. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy flying helicopters, but it's annoying when you're trying to make a tank video, and then here they are trying to shoot at you with their fancy rockets. But I got a little trick up my sleeve, as you'll soon see. But all in all, in terms of visual appearance, I love Alaska. I think it is one of the, in terms of visuals, most beautiful map we've added thus far. And of course, we have some other visually nice maps, but this one really takes the cake for my book. I really would like to go to Alaska. In the summertime, of course. In the summertime, of course. Maybe in the fall, but most likely in the summer. Fun stuff like that. And... bye-bye. Oof. Feels good, man. So, now, let's back up a little and talk about perhaps my other favorite edition. Oh no, I lost my side skirt. My other favorite edition for 1.87, the T-80U, also affectionately known on the forum as the Soviet Huntress. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Kontact 5 ERA is available on the T-80U. Stock, by the way. This gun elevation is so slow. The Kontact 5 is going to be a very nice addition for, or upgrade for the T-80 family of tanks. And as I've experienced, unfortunately I wasn't able to get good footage of one of my other engagements because I don't know if it was because of the dev server or what, but when I tried to save the replay file, it got corrupted, and it was more action-packed than this one. Feels bad, man. But I'm happy I was able to at least get a replay, a decent replay with the T-80U. Now, obviously, the notable weak spots for the T-80U, like the previous T-series of tanks, no pun intended, excuse me, is its lower front plate, which I don't really get one-shotted that, or shot there at all that much very often. I know that sounded funky. But the spot I do get shot at the most is the driver port and the gun breech. So unfortunately, that Kontact 5 is not going to protect your breech, and it's only going to increase the protection for your driver port by a little, so those are still some vulnerable areas. But I'm really curious, and I thought that M4 was an enemy because his name tag didn't show up for me right away, so I just decided to do the typical thing an angry tanker would do and push him out of the way. But I'm really curious to see how the T-80U will perform on a large map like Fields of Poland or Fulda Gap, that sort of thing, where it can make excellent use of its Kontact 5 at long range, and see how well it will protect the tank from long-range engagements, because in some circumstances it does protect you very nice and well from close-range engagements. Like I had an M1A1 shoot me at the front. Thankfully he didn't hit my driver port, but he hit my Contact 5 ERA on my hull, and that deflected the shot, allowing me to just use my, I'm not going to call it that, the the 3BM42 round on him and easily go through the turret. So I'm really curious how the T-80U and M1A1 will play out when the live server comes out. I honestly am not sure how that's going to play out, because on the one hand, sure, with the 3BM42 round, you can easily go through the M1A1's turret real easily, but then at the same time, the M1A1 can also pen its own turret really easily. So there's that. So the M1A1 will definitely have to rely on its mobility, which isn't hampered all that much by its 120 mil. Now, the one thing I forgot to mention regarding the M1A1, and I'm kind of sad about this, and sorry, dude, didn't mean to ram you there, is that the M1A1 doesn't have access to smoke shells. Not smoke grenades, smoke shells. I found that really useful on the M1 and IPM1 for when I ran out of smoke grenades and I needed to conceal myself while I repaired. And I would just load up the smoke rounds and just shoot them into the ground in front of me, and obscuring my vision, or making it harder for enemies to shoot at me while I repaired. So I'm definitely going to have to keep careful track of how much smoke grenades I use while I play as the M1A1. Now, as for the T-80U, like I said earlier, its notable weak spots are still there: the driver port, the cannon breach, and the lower plate. But if you angle your turret, as I've observed, and thanks to Steven and Didasco from Flying Circus, who are fellow moderators of mine, excuse me, we're moderators together on Flying Circus, good grief, I cannot talk, for telling me to try to angle the turret on my T-80U. And I decided to do that when I was engaging a Leopard 2A4, and he hit my Contact 5, and he did not penetrate my turret armor. Now, granted, when I was getting ready to shoot at him, he somehow reloaded faster than I did, but I guess it was because I thought his loader was down, so I just got lazy, you could say. And he got my breach, but thankfully none of my crew were injured or killed. And I almost died there if it had not been for another T-80U that came in and saved me, so that was nice. So I'm definitely curious to see how the M1A1 and the T-80U will perform in live battles, because there's so many parameters that are different on the live server than they are on the dev server, because as you can see here, we've gotten rid of most of the players, and now it's gotten down to mostly bots. And some of these bots are kind of dumb, which I'm kind of glad they are, because how would you feel getting one shot by an M4 Sherman in your T-80U while you're trying to engage an M1A1? That sort of thing. So we'll just have to wait in the very near future how those two giants will perform. And then also, I must not forget how the Challenger 2 and the Leopard 2A5 will play on the battlefield. I definitely cannot wait to see what 1.87 has to offer. And then, of course, in regards to the aircraft editions, which I'll save for another video. So that was a lot to talk about. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the video so far, and I hope you've enjoyed this little brief showcase of the M1A1, the T-80U, and the T-80U, and also the Tunguska, the latter of which was shown briefly. I definitely had fun playing on the dev server and checking out all the new stuff, and I can't wait to see how they'll all perform in the live patch, and also what the second dev server will have, if applicable. But anyway, that is it for today's video. Have a great day, stay safe, good luck with your grind, peace out.